thank you all for being here today as we welcome new members of our Northwestern family, of our Natchitoches community, and certainly the standard bearers now for Lady Demon basketball, which has got a tradition that is the envy of many. I think when you look at what's been achieved at this program through the years, the list of teams that we've defeated: Duke, Notre Dame, Louisiana Tech. That was a long time ago, Leon. But you just Clemson, Iowa, you go on Kansas, Florida. It can happen here. And I know that Greg Burke and the people that went through the interview process, and Dr. Webb and Jerry Pierce, certainly feel like they've identified a couple who are going to get us back to where we really enjoy Lady Demon basketball as we've known it through the years. To start our program this afternoon, our president, who is undoubtedly our number one fan. I remember when he was elected president, he complained about having to leave the stands in football and go up to the president's box because he wanted to be that close to the action, and he is always here watching the Lady Demons. Dr. Randy Webb.
Many people in the room know I was one of those people who had the good fortune to grow up in Haynesville and attend Haynesville High School. By the way, for those of you who might not know where that is, about 100 miles north of here, it's about 20 miles due east of what Jerry Pierce fondly refers to as North Webster High School in Spring Hill. That's an inside joke, but Jerry understands it for sure. When I grew up in those days, Haynesville had to play a pretty mean brand of athletics because we were in a district with Ruston, Neville, and Jonesboro Hodge, which I know Doug appreciates. You wouldn't find any of the Haynesville players who went on to college. But we played a lot of games against a bunch of teams that did send a lot of players to college. I thought they were all monsters, just 6'5" and taller. You know, I was the tallest guy at Haynesville. But there was one guy at Ruston who really annoyed me. I didn't even like him. I considered him such a scrappy player, you know, and he was one of those with an attitude. But he went on to be a great college player, and he also went on to be an outstanding college coach, and particularly with the Lady Texters, and that's our friend Leon Barmore. So Leon, we're just so highly honored to have you with us today. And speaking of Leon, you know what he said about Brooke Stoehr in his interview recently is enough really for me, because I regard him so highly and know the caliber of players who played for him, and he knows those players individually, and he knows the capabilities that some of those have, particularly to rise in the coaching profession to the heights. And he's identified Brooke as one of those. She was one of the last players that he coached. As if that were not enough, the thing that sells it for me, that seals the deal, is that somehow Brooke compiled a 91.5% career free throw shooting average at Tech. Now, for those of you who may be mathematically challenged, that's not easy. That is one outstanding statistic, and it really speaks volumes about her as a person. And I think about her as the kind of coach she will be for the Lady Demons here at Northwestern. So we're truly honored to warmly welcome Brooke and Scott into the Northwestern family. These are people who have had coaching stints at a variety of major colleges and universities, and that's a very strong point. I personally feel that they're going to be a blessing to the Lady Demon program and to our community. And so I want to encourage us as Demon and Lady Demon supporters to think about packing Prather every time the men's and women's basketball teams play here, because I have a feeling Coach McConaughey can tell us there's going to be a lot of excitement from the men's side, and I know there'll be excitement from the women. So I'm very excited about those seasons as they come on next year, and I know you will be too. Thank you so much for being here today.
I wasn't quite sure how much we were going to hear about Haynesville, but with Randy, you can always count on at least a little bit. And he gave Spring Hill and Jonesboro Hodge reference, so we're proud of that, aren't we, Jerry? But we're here to celebrate the occasion. The occasion is possible because of the incredible, and I think diligent is understating the issue, the incredible work that many people put into this, but the point person with this, and he worked nights, he worked weekends, you'd get emails from him after midnight. He took this as a personal challenge and sorted through an incredible number of applicants for this job, and with the help of many people, as he consulted them, brought us to this point today. He's brought our athletic program to new heights. In his 16 years, he's the longest tenured director of athletics, both in the Southland Conference and in the state of Louisiana. And he is a guy who's got a big smile on his face today, our director of athletics, Greg Burke.
Thank you, Doug, and welcome everybody. I stand before you. We are just concluding the 38th season of Lady Demon basketball, and if you think about it, for only the 6th time in 38 years, we're announcing a new coach, or in this case, new coaches. And really for the first time in the history of the Lady Demon basketball program, for different reasons, this is really the first time we've done a full-blown, tried and true search, and feel really good, as Doug said, as Dr. Webb said, about where we've ended up. And as I introduce our new co-head coaches, I'd like to tell you a few things about them that maybe go beyond what's on the press release at your table. I guess first about Brooke. I think it's really appropriate that, very appropriate that a former Lady Demon, Angela Ortega, Angela played here from 1987 to 89, AO as a lot of us still call her. AO is the person who called me and said, hey, I called AO the day before and said, hey, we're looking for a coach. Think about some folks that might be good. And she told me she woke up in the middle of the night. I'm just glad she waited to call me until daybreak, but she said she woke up in the middle of the night and thought about Brooke. And I think it's great, and I know she's thrilled as somebody who's a part of the Lady Demon legacy to know that Brooke and Scott are going to be taking over the program. I think it's appropriate that Brooke's most current head coach, Christy Curry, is a native of all of Louisiana, so has very, very special feelings for this university. Her dad and her granddad both attended and graduated from Northwestern. I think it's appropriate that one of the best women's basketball coaches in the history of the game, Leon Barmore, recruited Brooke out of Hamburg, Arkansas, and to Louisiana Tech, and by doing so, her reputation as a heady and intense competitor and leader got known across this state. And make no mistake, the fact that reputation is still out there is going to help her in terms of the recruiting, and it's going to make the high school coaches in this state want to send their players. It's going to make parents want to send their daughters here to play for Scott and for Brooke. And finally, as far as Brooke, I think it's just amazing how many recommendations and positive feedback has been received about her even after they've been hired. As recently as yesterday, in fact, the wife of Dr. Webb's nephew, Forrest Williams, over in Mississippi, sends me an email yesterday and said, I just tracked on the fact that you hired Brooke. We were together at an FCA camp and just went on and on about her character, what kind of person she was. I cannot tell you guys how many unsolicited responses and feedback that I got. So that makes me feel real good. Scott coached really, AO knew Scott before she knew Brooke, I guess, but they coached 6 years together at North Texas. And Brooke and Scott met at Florida State, but this is not, let me just make it really clear, this is not your feel-good, love at first sight story with Brooke and Scott, because as he was coaching at North Texas, they won 20 games 4 years in a row, but they could never beat Louisiana Tech. And as Scott told me, The reason they couldn't beat Louisiana Tech was because of that blankety-blank point guard that always seemed to make a play down the stretch to win the game for Tech and to beat North Texas. And he didn't say blankety-blank. I threw that in. So, but anyway, and it's funny how they met at Florida State. She is a GA. Scott is an assistant coach. And then the love story and the romance began, and that's why they're here today. And I'll tell you, the people in the interview committee will tell you, as they sat in front of us and interviewed, to me it was amazing how they played off of each other and how they complement each other. So if you wonder how they're going to work together every day, I think that was a kind of a microcosm of it. What are we going to get with them together? Just real quickly, we're going to get great work ethic. They started their job officially yesterday. They started their job unofficially 2.5 weeks ago when they took this position. I mean, camps, talking to the team, recruiting, they have really hit the ground running, and I don't think they're going to stop. Character and integrity, and I can tell you guys know me, that's what we want in our coaches. That's where it has to start. Recruiting acumen, starting with the state of Louisiana, as I alluded to, and part of the fact they wanted to be sure to start this week is because this weekend is the first time that women's basketball coaches can get out and recruit, and they're going to be there. They're going to be there recruiting for 3 days, doing evaluations, and then for the next 2 days they can go to the high schools, and they're going to be in the high schools. It's going to be a program that's based on discipline in all aspects, citizenship, academics, and obviously on the court. And I know our athletes have heard me say this before, but you can't say you're going to be disciplined on the court if you're not disciplined in the rest of your life. So that's big with them. The ability to coach them up, as they say, and Dr. Webb already alluded to Brooke's free throw shooting, and mathematics aside, if you just think about shooting free throws, nobody was born a good free throw shooter. You have to work at it. And I know Brooke worked hard to make herself, I knew about her when she played up there, she worked hard to make herself a player. She probably worked really hard knowing the ball was going to be in her hands late in the game, and she was going to have to make free throws to win games for Coach Barmore's team. And I think her senior year, she actually shot 97% and led the nation. Her career was 91.5. We will be prepared, no doubt about it. Got a floor leader. Academics has been a constant topic since the moment we started talking. And then last but not least, with the folks sitting in this room, they'll be involved in this community. Absolutely no doubt about it. I'll conclude by saying this. Nobody's born a head coach. Everybody has to get their opportunity, and it's just a matter of when that right time is. And I think for Brooke and Scott, that right time is right now. I can't put it into words enough to y'all that they provide me with what I call a very calm confidence as they assume the leadership role for Lady Demon basketball, along with their 2-year-old daughter Aubrey, and another addition to the family about to arrive here in 6 weeks or so. I welcome Brooke and Scott to NSU and to Natchitoches, and it is now my privilege to formally introduce them to you, your new head coaches for Lady Demon basketball, Brooke and Scott Stoehr.
Scott looks pretty good holding the flowers, so we'll let him do that. What a great turnout today. First of all, just want to thank Doug Ireland and his staff, and just for all the people that have put this together. We're honored to be here, and we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here to celebrate with us today. First of all, I just want to thank a few people, obviously Dr. Webb, Greg Burt, and his wonderful staff, Mr. Jerry Pierce, and the search committee members. This is an opportunity we didn't think we were going to have. Obviously, I'm going to have a baby in about 7 weeks, so we weren't planning on moving. But I think I don't think it's ironic when things like this happen. We believe they happen for a reason, and we appreciate the search committee, Greg and Dr. Webb, for this opportunity. And we're going to do our very best to make you guys proud. So with that, I think just to talk a little bit about how we felt coming away from the search committee and the whole interview process. We came away with 3 things, and again, like I said, we weren't looking to move. We had a great situation, but these things don't just happen for a reason. So when we came away from the process, the one constant that we just kept coming up with over and over was the people. And the people here in Natchitoches have been just overwhelmingly supportive already. We hope you're that supportive a year from now after we've had one season completed. It's going to be a process, but I think that's the main thing that we just felt like there was just a genuine care and concern about Lady Demon basketball, and that came from, it started with Greg and came down through the search committee and through the rest of the people of this community that we met. Like I said, we feel very honored to be here. There are a lot of people that could be in this position today, and we feel very honored and thankful for this and humbled by this opportunity. This is a program that's not your run-of-the-mill program. This is a program that has had a storied tradition. Obviously, with Coach Pearson here today, we're glad you're here. Obviously, we'll be using your resources during our time here. Coach Smith, all the people that have come before us, they've set a standard that we want to get back to, and that we want a level that we want to achieve. And we're just thankful for what you've done for the program and what you'll do for us in the future. We kind of had a running joke. Scott and I would see how far I could get in before I got emotional. And so this may be the part, but just a few people that I need to thank personally. My parents are here, Bill and Charlotte. My sister is not able to be here today, but just for all the sacrifices they've made, really appreciate them. And my mom's probably somewhere around here taking care of Aubrey, so she doesn't interrupt everything. Coach Barmore, obviously he saw something in me as a high school student and helped develop me and helped me to be the person that I am today, player and coach. So thankful that he took the time to come today. That means a lot to us. Coach Foley, Joe Foley at Arkansas Little Rock, gave me my first coaching job. I didn't get very far, sorry. We'll just blame it on the pregnancy. You'll learn I'm a very emotional person, and I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and you know, these young ladies I think have seen that already. We had a workout yesterday, so hopefully we'll infuse some of that into you and how we play out there. But just a few people that I needed to thank, and obviously for my recent stop at Texas Tech, Christy Curry, someone that worked for Coach Barmore and helped recruit me, and just is a dear friend and a great mentor. And for that administration and that staff there at Texas Tech, I really enjoyed my 3 years there, and I think that my time there has helped prepare me for this position today. And just needed to thank them and make sure that they understood how much we appreciated that and helped us get to this point. So that kind of explains where we are today. Greg, you know, you can read the bios, we can tell you all about where we've been, but we're excited about where we are today. And I think that that's where we start. We talked with our team about we're going to embrace the past, but we're going to look to the future, and it's about what we're going to do from this day forward. And I think that's very important. We walked into the interview process, you know, just not clueless, because we obviously had some connections with AO, as Greg alluded to. And so we knew that the program had a storied tradition, obviously playing at Louisiana Tech, knew of Coach Smith, and have several good friends that are former Lady Demons. And so obviously we were familiar with the process and what we were getting into. But there were three things, and I'll touch on these quickly, that we walked away from the process feeling really, really good about. And as we talked and met with our family and just prayed through some things, these three things kept coming up. Number one was the people. I think that in any situation, it doesn't matter the facilities you have, it doesn't matter the student athletes you have, it doesn't matter how much money, what your budget is. It's about the people. And we've been in places that have all those other things and don't have quality people, and the experience is not the same. So I think that was the first thing that we came away with when we went through this process, was how special the people were. And you could just sense a genuine care and concern about not only us and who would take this position, but for the student athletes and for the university. And so I think that was the main thing. And I get a great opportunity because one of those great people is working right down the hall from me, and that's Coach Mike McConaughey. I've heard, you know, many stories about him and what a great guy he is and all of this, but it only took one breakfast that he took time out of his schedule, he and his wife, to sit down with Scott and I and be very candid about what this job entails and what this university is about and what Mr. Burke is about. And walking away from that, I thought, that's a great opportunity to work with someone like that. And so we're very honored to be able to work down the hall from Coach McConaughey and learn from he and his staff. The second thing is community. I think when you live in a small community like this, it really embraces the university, and I think the university is a huge part of the community. I think that is who we are and what we want to be about. We have a 2-year-old and obviously a child on the way, and we want to put some roots down. We've moved around a lot, and I know that happens in the coaching profession, but we want to be here for a while, and we hope that you allow us to be here for a while. But I think the community is a very big part of that, and you will see us out in the community. If you need anything, you pick up the phone and call the basketball office. We'll be there if it fits in our schedule. And then the third thing, like I talked about before, was the program is not broken. When you get to an opportunity, some places you're just never going to win. It doesn't matter who you have there, who's in charge, what players you have. Some places you're just not going to be able to win, but they've gotten it done here before, and I think that gave us the confidence that it can be done again. You know, we just need a little guidance and a little change of pace and a little direction, and we're going to be fine. So I think that's the main thing, is that it's not a broken entity. It is something that's had a successful past, and we can reach that and attain that level again, and we will. So those are the three things that I think for us were the biggest factors that when we walked away were, number one, the people, number two, the community, and then number three, the success of the program and the people that have been here before us. I'll stand here before you, and number one, obviously you know that our job is to win games, but I'll tell you our job is to mentor young ladies and help them be productive citizens when they leave this university. And that's our passion. That's who we are. I think you'll see that, and I think our players will see that. It is not about just what's happening 94 feet out there. That's a big part of what we do, but Greg talked about, discipline in every area of your life. And how are you going to do that on the court when you can't do that in the classroom, in the community, and everywhere else? So I think that we're charged with a greater responsibility other than just winning and losing games. And I know for some people that your jobs aren't dealt with on a scoreboard and in public, and that's the job that we've chosen. But we have a bigger scoreboard too, and it's not just about wins and losses. That's going to be a huge part of who we are and what we do, but it's not all we're about. We're about raising these young ladies up into be women that are going to be productive citizens that the community of Natchitoches and the university can be very proud of in the future. There are a couple of things that I'll just touch base on that we believe helps develop those young ladies and what we're going to base our program off of. And there are 4 core values that we really feel like every day that we're gonna strive to be very good at. And I'll just cover those quickly with you. The first one is family, and we like to throw trust in there with family because everyone's family looks differently. Our family looks differently than your family. And so I think that the main thing with that is that when you think about family and trust, the qualities that those are built on are love, respect, and communication. And those are things that we're going to do with our young ladies each and every day. We're going to talk to each other in the right way. We're going to love each other, and with love comes discipline. They're not going to like us some days. Sorry, girls. I know you're probably not looking forward to hearing that, but you won't. And we're going to learn to do that. And I think when we can learn to do that, when we get in tight situations, that family and that trust, we're going to be able to count on each other and get each other through some tough times and be able to celebrate some really exciting times. The second thing in our core value system is competitive greatness. How do you define that? I think it's learning to compete every single day, every single possession, wanting to win every drill, wanting to make the highest grade in your class on that test. It's the little things, but it's learning to compete and learning to win every single play and every single drill, every single day, because it does matter. The third is work ethic. And I think that word can be tossed around, those words can be tossed around loosely, but they're extremely important, because we can all work hard, but if we're not working at a certain level and a certain capacity, we're not going to achieve the right things and the things that we set out to do. We can all talk about we want to win 20 games and win the Southland Conference and make the NCAA tournament, but if we don't display that work ethic every single day in every aspect of our lives, we're not going to achieve that. And then lastly is accountability. All of these are great things, but unless we as a staff hold each other together and hold each other accountable and hold our young ladies accountable, they're all just words and it's all just lip service. So I think that the accountability, although it's listed last in our core values, is one of the most important, because without accountability, it's just words and it doesn't mean anything. So I think that when you think about what we're going to do, the best way I can describe it is we're going to be a family and we're going to trust each other and love each other. We're going to strive for competitive greatness. We're going to have a great work ethic on and off the court, and we're going to hold each other accountable. So I think that hopefully when we get things going, you can see that, and our play resembles that in each and every game that we come out, and that hopefully that you're in the stands watching that, and that you walk away and say, you know what, when Brooke and Scott stood up there and talked about it on their first day, we can see that. And it's going to take some time, and change is going to happen, and it's not always comfortable, but we're excited about the opportunity. We're excited about the chance to implement our plan and to love on these young ladies and to discipline them and to hopefully win a lot of ball games here in the future. And coming to that, you know, Dr. Webb and Greg both alluded to having fan support. Well, we understand our job is to put a great product on the floor that you guys want to come and cheer for. But I think one of the main things is getting to know these young ladies as people and for who they are. I think when you are dealing with them out in the community and you're seeing them on campus and you're seeing them at events, you're going to want to come watch them play. You're going to want to come support them, and hopefully they're going to carry themselves in a way, and we're going to demand that they carry themselves in a way that you're going to be very proud of and that you're going to want to cheer for and that you're going to want to fill Prather Coliseum for. So we're going to do our part, and then we need you guys to jump on board and come along with us. Again, I can't thank everyone enough for being here. This is a bit overwhelming. I don't think I was really expecting this turnout, but we really appreciate it. Again, Greg and Dr. Webb and your staffs, thank you so much. We're excited to be here, excited to be a part of the Northwestern State family, and no, girls, we've got a workout this afternoon, so I know you're excited about that. But we appreciate you being here, and we really thank you. Thank you for your support. We're humbled by this opportunity and hope we can make you proud.
What we're going to do now is we're going to have just a little question and answer, because I know Brooke covered a lot of territory, but there may be something that you want to ask, and this is not just media, this is anybody. Matthew Bonnett's got, I believe you got the mic, is that right? Robbie does? Okay, Robbie, you'll work the room. If you've got a question, raise your hand. By the way, Stoehrs, not only are these people who are interested in the program, but 2/3 of them are adjunct officials. And they'll be in the stands advising the officials during games, so you can relax on that. And then we've got one back here, he will direct your defense. Don Barker, can you give us a pressure? Leon, you can relate to that, I know. But we're going to have fun, and right now, if Robbie's got the mic, and I'm blind anyway and going to lower the shades, and Robbie, if you can find somebody who's got a question, that'll get us started if you just raise your hand if you have a question. This is not bidding, by the way, so if you raise your hand, I'm not going to say that comes later. She answered a lot of questions, I'd say.
May I ask how many times I've been fired already?
Here, y'all get. Here, let me.
What were you doing when you got the call? What were your emotions?
Well, actually, you'll find this story kind of humorous. I think AO had talked to Greg, and I'm actually in a staff meeting at the time. We're covering a scouting report. We're getting ready to play Tulane in the postseason tournament, and I get a text from AO, and it says, "Are you ready to be a head coach?" And I thought, and I literally, I can probably pull this up on my phone, text her back, what AD in their right mind is going to hire someone that has a 2-year-old and is going to have a baby in about 2 months. And she said, I know one. And so, no, we were actually playing in the postseason, and just Greg was very respectful of that, and obviously contacted Coach Curry and really went about it the right way. I think one thing that, you know, going back to the whole process of just being really impressed with that is how he handled everything, and just making sure that we were comfortable and extremely patient with us as we played for another couple of weeks.
See anything at all right now about recruiting?
NCAA restricts me from really commenting on that specifically, but just know that we've been working. There will be a couple of people on campus next week. It is not something that we are going to take lightly. Recruiting is the lifeblood of any program, as we all know. Great players make us look really, really good. That's right, Coach. I wasn't referring to myself there. I had a lot of really, really good teammates that I failed to mention earlier.
Yes, based on past experience, did Coach Mike pay for breakfast, or did he do Dutch treat?
He took care of us. Coach Mike did a great job.
Maybe this is not fair. Scott, you've been coaching in high school the last few years or whatever since you got out of and started supporting her. What kind of success and so forth have you had in high school?
Well, with our moves that we've had, I've been working with 7th grade boys, 7th grade girls, all the way up through high school age. Has been a varsity assistant coach. The thing that it's probably taught me more so than anything else, and I told the committee this, is I wish I would have coached at that level before I got into college, because I learned how to teach and I learned how to coach at a much greater level. And I think if you're an educator in any way, you understand that if you can understand the process through which kids get to this point, then you have much better frame of reference on how to correct some things, a different way of teaching, that type of thing. So I really feel like I've become a much better coach by stepping out of the college game and working with the younger age players.
I'll kind of follow up with that. Poor Scott, when he met me, his career took a big hit, so he can kind of blame that on me. So now we're getting to do it together and be able to continue on this journey. And I forgot to thank probably the most important person. Sorry. He and Scott, they've made a lot of sacrifices for me, and I think that obviously we've gotten to this point because of that.
One thing I want to mention is, Brooke's been very kind to me up here. I just want to mention I've been fired 4 times already on the job, but somehow I made it to today. And so if y'all wonder how this is going to work out, you may just keep an eye on me, and I might hold up a number, and that's probably the amount that I've been fired today. So.
Have you started putting together a staff to be with you? Where are you in that process?
We're still talking to a few people. We've got some great leads and some people that we're really focusing on. I think when you think about putting a staff together, you really want to take your time and make sure that you have people, number one, that you trust. I think, loyalty is a huge deal with us, and I don't think that I could have thrown a couple of people already in those positions, but we've got some good people lined up, and we're going to just make sure that we make the right hire and make the appropriate hire in that case. Loyalty and trust. And people with Louisiana ties always helps too.
Once you decide what will be your primary recruiting area, like Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas?
Well, obviously we have connections from all of those states. We've lived and worked in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, spent a great deal of time, the majority of our career in those states. But I think number one, you have to recruit the state of Louisiana. When you look at the success that Coach Pearson and Coach Smith have had over the years, they were with Louisiana young ladies, and I think that number one, we have to start in-state. You have to find those players that maybe from the smaller schools and the areas that they're hiding out, But they know how to compete and they know how to win, and that's where we're going to start. We'll start in Louisiana, and then we're going to branch out in those respective areas.
Our new head basketball coach is Brooke and Scott Stoehr, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, what we're going to do for the media at this point in time is we're going to wrap things up. Certainly anybody who wants to come by and say hello to Brooke and Scott before they need to leave, please do so. But we're also going to move our backdrop off the stage here.